This is the Pete Wong Podcast, sharing the things that I love with those that I love. I've always wanted to talk about the things that I care about in life. People have told me time after time, why don't you just share more of you? And with that, let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to the Pete Wong Podcast. How's everyone doing out there? Hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving, those of you that celebrate it. And those of you that didn't celebrate it, I hope you still had a fantastic day. And hopefully you felt being cared for. And if not, maybe you were the one that was sharing your love and sharing your care for someone else. We're getting into December here. And I know a lot of people have been talking about what a year 2020 was. I still plan on having an episode kind of touching more in detail regarding what 2020 meant and some of the different things that occurred. For this episode, I wanted to try something different. I wanted to, in a sense, go off book, meaning I'm not going to be reading to you the chapters from my book. We're about halfway in the book, and so I wanted to take a break from that. In the meantime, I'm going to be continuing setting up interviews with different guests, and I would like to do more. Hopefully that all pans out. I still have stuff to share. I still have stuff I want to talk about and create a dialogue with all of you out there. I chose a topic and I'm going to be talking about it, something that happened to me very recently. And I thought it might help some of you out there in your lives. First of all, though, before we get started, I want to just give a sincere thank you to everyone who has been listening. It brings me so much joy to be doing this. You just never know. I really want to just share with you the people that mean something to me. And lately, it's been people that I've known pretty well, close people. And I've been just very happy to be able to share them with you, just like I have experienced in my life. Some of the comments that I got were very touching and very moving. People said things like, even though they were not mixed race, they could relate to the things that we were talking about. And another comment that I got was, they just loved seeing Josh and my friendship. So that's exactly what my intention was at the start of the podcast, is wanting to just share with you those kind of little things that bring me joy. And so let's continue doing that. And if any of you out there would like to be a guest, I've already had some other people reach out to me and ask me if they could be a guest on the show, and how cool is that, right? But I do, I'm doing this pretty much on my own, and with a lot of support from friends and family. But I want this thing to get bigger. So little by little, just enjoying the process. With that, let's get going with today's topic. I got my notes here, because I always like to have my notes. And I'm calling this episode The Flood in the Apartment. All right, so it was the Friday before Halloween. I had, so what I like to do is I used to write down on a piece of paper using a Sharpie. And I still do that sometimes, but sometimes if I know I need to be just more on my feet and I just want to write something down, I'll just take notes in my phone. And so I had a list of things that I was going to do on that Friday. And it started off from, waking up and work, doing my HIIT and then meditation and then making a smoothie, making lunch. But one of the things on that list was washing clothes. Okay. And I'm a fan of washing clothes. I actually like the process. So in the current apartment that me and my roommate live in, we have a washing machine, washing and dryer. So that's pretty cool. Well, I didn't think anything of it. I wash my clothes like normally. Turn the thing, put the softener in, the detergent in, and then I'm on my phone, and I think I was messaging Emily, my girlfriend, and all of a sudden, below my feet, I see water, like a. The way I describe it is like a river. Like when you have your feet in water and like the river is going downstream. And I had a moment where I was like, wow, this is kind of, no, this shouldn't be happening. Like, this is inside our apartment. This is what's going on. And then I had a moment of just like awe that this was happening. And then the next thing was a realization that this was happening, meaning everything was getting wet. And the first thing I saw, it was like the water was getting close to, we have our Wi-Fi modem, router. I'm not super techie, but that sits on the ground. And I'm seeing it about probably about a foot. And I'm like, the first thing I do is I just pick it up. And then luckily I had this cardboard box with some clothes. So when I moved, still sitting in that corner. So what I did was I grabbed it and then I just chucked it. I just chucked it in that box. And then I was like, okay, I took a breather. But then the reality, see, what's interesting is, and this is why I want to share this with all of you, is because sometimes things happen to us and they're kind of so surreal or so like, is this really happening to us? That it takes us a moment to recognize that, no, this is real. Kind of like if someone pinched you and it hurt, like that's real. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, again, shocked, like, and then I'm like, oh, okay, first thing I gotta do is turn off the machine so the water will stop coming through. So then I turn off the machine, and then, you just get this moment of not embarrassment, but kind of like dread, because something happened that you never planned, something that you would never want to happen, but it's already happened, and you're staring right at it. And so the word that comes to my mind is overwhelmed. I stood there in my apartment, and it was just me. My roommate at the time was out. I just needed a moment, and I just want to share this with you because all the work that I share, all the things that I do, the different practice, the different training, it's for moments like this really test out why I continue to do this, to want to change my life for the better, for what I think is the better. It's because the old me from a couple of years ago, before my transformation, would have just given up, would have just folded, would have just felt so overwhelmed. Like, you always say to yourself, why me? I used to, and I shared this in the chapter, but like, I used to make excuses for lots of things that happened to me. And right then and there, after I got the overwhelmingness, the shock out of the way, the fighter in me, the warrior in me, the one that has practiced over and over taking action for his life, to live the life that I want to live and to not let anything get in the way, even things that are uncontrollable. Because there's a certain amount of letting go. There's a certain part of being a warrior, of letting go and accepting that there's nature working as well. There's no point, in my opinion, to fight nature, whatever that means. Whether it was the washing machine breaking, whether it was the way the apartment's designed so the water went a certain way. You can't do anything about that. But what can you do? That is the difference between those that live life taking action, making moves, versus those that watch life just pass by. Literally, I almost let life pass me by because I just felt overwhelmed. It's interesting because when that switch turns on, I need to do something. Lots of times, for me anyway, the first thing that comes to mind is the other person, my roommate. I saw the water going into my roommate's bedroom, and I was like thinking, okay, what can I do? So the first thing that I thought of was I'll grab whatever towels we have lying around, whatever big towels or small towels we had. And then what I did was there was an old pot that my roommate was going to throw out because on the bottom it started getting the scratches and not good to use. But it was just sitting out by the door, and it hadn't been thrown away yet. So I thought, thank you, universe. Thank you for giving me a sign that I needed, even though I'm also dealing with the universe in other ways. So what happened was I grabbed as many towels as I could, and then I quickly made sure that a little bit part of the doorway got wet, but I was able to stop it before it got really bad in his room. And then what I did was I just soak up the towel, and then squeeze out the water, drench the water into the pot, and then I would dump it into the bathtub. During that time, I had so many things that I was thinking in my head, like, this sucks. Why do I even have to do this? It shouldn't have happened. This sucks. And also, my body felt tired and sore, I think because I just went and worked out. And then here I am, crouching down, soaking up the water, and then doing the process. Another part of things not going your way is there's a certain amount of accepting that things are as they're being presented to you, but then it's your choice how you take it into your mind and how you let it affect you, or how you let it destroy you, or how you let it help you, how you let it be more productive. It felt like my training in martial arts, my training in boxing, my training in being physical, doing the exercises that I do daily, weekly, routine, repetition, a little bit goes a long ways. A little bit is progress. One of my favorite saying is progress is progress. It's kind of like when you're moving or you're cleaning your room and you're like moving things to one side and then you look and there's still so much more to do. I think that's part of life. I think that's part of being a human. This is one of those things that it will always be there. When things seem done, they're not actually done yet. But it's learning to sit with that uncomfortableness. It's learning to sit with that, I have to work hard. I have to put effort. And so I remember soaking it up and telling myself, you're going to get it done. You just keep going. You just keep going. I know you don't like this, and I know this isn't how you wanted to spend your Friday, but I know the old me would have just given up, would have just gotten angry, started complaining, starting to feel sorry for myself. But not this Pete. This Pete was like, you got a place to go tonight. You still got a couple of things you got to take care of. We're going to do this. But I also allowed myself room to breathe, room to relax, room to accept that today the universe presented something different to you. It wasn't in your plan. It wasn't in your schedule, but this was inserted. So are you going to fight it, or are you going to go with it? And I chose to go with it as best as I could. And my body, I know now because of my training, I don't get angry. I don't get rattled up. I give it a minute. I remind myself, this is just the process. Let's keep going. So what I did was I just kept doing the process. And then a part of me was like, is this going to really work? And eventually, I started to see my apartment get more and more dry. So luckily, the bathtub was a place I could, drain the water. Otherwise, that would have been another thing. So I thought this might be a cool thing to share with you. And I know the story's taking a little bit longer than I thought it would, but I wanted to paint a picture and give you context. So then, once that was taken care of, I messaged my roommate and I told him the situation. And then also when it happened, I did call our apartment's maintenance. And unfortunately, our maintenance, I guess like many apartments, they do their best. And maybe because of COVID, things are done a little bit differently. They have to be, cautious, and things take a little bit more time. Well, I wasn't home the day that the maintenance person came over to fix the washer. And he told my roommate, oh, he fixed it. So then I waited to wash clothes, 2 weeks or 3 weeks later. But I was like, okay, he said he fixed it. So let's, I didn't think anything of it, in other words. So sure enough, I went to wash my clothes, and almost the same process. I was on my phone, probably texting my girlfriend. And I kid you not, I saw water again. So this happened to me twice. And I just stared at it. I just stared at it the second time. And I was like, is this really? I thought he said he fixed it. Okay, he didn't. So I just stared at it for a while. And keep in mind, I haven't been able to wash the towels yet. So we didn't have as much towels as the first time. But I just told myself, we're going to make it work. And then I did the process, and we did make it work. So the maintenance guy came again, and he said that he fixed it. I wasn't home this time. It happened again for the third time. And this time it happened to my roommate. And if you ask him, he will have his story of his perspective. But he also shared with me when it happened, he just stared at it, and he even like had to walk away from it. You know, it's just interesting. I just think it's interesting how each of us handles things. Each of us handles situations. The work that I do, the things that I share with all of you in the podcast or as a mind body coach, it's really important for me to provide things that help people feel not as stressed and filled with more love, whether it's for themselves or for someone else. And so I think this was another example of letting go and going with the flow of nature, whatever that is, even if you don't like it. That's the story of the flood in the apartment. I don't know if any of you out there have experienced it and what you've done. Feel free to message me and you know, if you'd like to share your story. Encourage all of you, you know, whether you've gone through it or not, that you know, way to go if you've however you've taken care of it. That's pretty much what I wanted to share today. But I wanted to say that I wanted to end with some key points. In life, things happen to us. Some things we plan on it. Lots of times, many things we don't plan on it. So my question is, how do you handle it? What are you going to do when that happens? Are you going to tense up, be filled with anxiety, worry, fear? Are you going to get angry and look to blame somebody and possibly in that process hurt them? If not, how are you going to handle it? So that's the first thing. What are you going to do when things get overwhelmed? How do you handle it? I guess that's two questions. Next question. Why? Why is it when things don't go our way, it bothers us? Why does it make us feel something inside that we're not happy, we're not satisfied with? It's like stuck, or else that feeling of overwhelmedness. Why does it make us feel shocked, or why does it feel that way? I just wanted to put that out there because I think all of us, maybe especially right now, are going through some type of overwhelmingness. And I hope my story about the flood in the apartment can give you some more carefreeness into your perspective, into how you're going to handle it the next time. Because there's going to be many more in our lives. I'm 41, and when I started to look at life differently, look at the choices that I made, my perspective, my mentality, I realized that I kind of have learned to embrace the chaos. I've learned to embrace things not going well. I've learned to have a love for it just as much as I love the things that do work well for me. And I know that's just my choice. I know that's just my way of doing things, but I just want to encourage you all to consider that. Right now, I know things feel uncertain. I know things feel at unease for some of you out there. I hope that you will take pride in whatever you got to do to have more opportunities to practice letting go, practice. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. Because the healing that I've been working on in myself and now in turn sharing it with others, there's something really powerful, something magnificent about getting to that point where things are chaotic, things are very unsure, but you remind yourself it's going to be okay. And as fighters, we like to say, fight another day. I hope all of you out there will chime into the conversation and share with me whatever might be at unease with you and how you're dealing with it. And maybe if you'd like to, you could share in the social media or, letting me know, and I could share it out there. Any words that you have for others that might be struggling or experiencing this in their own situation. All right. Well, looking forward to doing more interviews, and please like, share, spread the word about the podcast. This is all about spreading love and joy into your lives, and as only I can, the Pete Wong way. I'm out of here. Go enjoy your Sunday or whatever day it is. There's still some sun, it looks like. Let's get ready for another holiday coming up and be filled with love from those that love you. And as always, remember, you are loved, you are worthy, and you are enough. Blessings to all of you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. And remember, you are loved, you are enough, and you are worthy. Blessings to all of you.